The outpost on Charon 4 was never meant to be permanent, just a speck in the larger expanse of the galactic map. It served as a monitoring station for spatial anomalies and gravitational pulses. Most humans assigned here requested transfers within the first 6 weeks, except Corporal Evan Rourke. Evan liked the quiet. After 3 years in the chaotic conflict zones of the Rim, silence was a relief. He spent his nights cataloging strange space debris, drinking recycled coffee, and listening to classical Earth music that echoed softly through the cold metal corridors. On shift, just past midnight station time, a distress signal shattered the silence. A proximity alert followed seconds later. Something had crash-landed just beyond the canyon's edge. Kevin grabbed his gear and followed the beacon signal across the jagged terrain. When he reached the crash site, he didn't expect to see a pod, scorched and half buried in the black sand, and certainly not her. A hunched, cloaked figure stumbling from the wreckage, smoke curling around her. Her skin shimmered unevenly under the moonlight. Patches of silvered scales glinted between flaking sheets of what looked like melted armor. One of her arms was mangled, bent at a sickening angle. Her face was obscured beneath a cracked visor, but Evan saw enough to know she wasn't human. She fell. Evan didn't hesitate. He rushed forward and caught her just before she hit the ground. She was heavy, far heavier than she looked, but he managed to lift her. "Stay with me," he muttered, eyes scanning her broken form. "I've got you." He didn't flinch. He didn't draw his weapon. He didn't even ask her name. He just carried her back. She healed fast. Within days her bones set themselves, and her wounds closed. Evan kept her in the old infirmary, away from the central system scans. He didn't report her. He should have. Regulations were clear. But when he looked at her, silent, cloaked, hiding even as her body regenerated, he couldn't bring himself to do it. He brought her food. She barely touched it. He offered conversation. She only listened. When she finally spoke, her voice was low, layered with static and sorrow. "You are not afraid of me?" Evan chuckled. "I've seen worse. You're not trying to kill me, so that's already a plus." The corner of her mouth twitched. "I am called Zirani," she said finally. Silence lingered. "I am not like this," she said after a moment. "This body, this shell, it's what remains of my exosuit. It is broken. I am broken." He tilted his head. "You mean this isn't your real form?" "No," she said quietly. "This is the shell I use to travel in your realm. My people, we are not made for the physical. We are energy, light, but that form frightens most species." "Will they hide it then?" Evan asked. She didn't answer. Not directly. Instead, she looked away and whispered, "When others have seen my true form, they screamed. They ran. Some even tried to kill me. I have learned to wear the ugly mask." Evan stepped forward, his voice softer. "And if I asked to see the real you?" She flinched. "Why?" she asked, genuinely confused. "Why would you want that?" "Because I don't think anything real can be ugly." Zirani studied him for a long time. "You don't turn away," she said. "Even now." "I won't," he promised. Her response was a whisper, barely audible. "Then you are worthy." That night, the lights dimmed on their own. A hush fell over the station. Evan stood in the infirmary, heart thudding. Zirani reached for the remnants of her exosuit and peeled them away, piece by piece. The cracked armor hissed as it separated from her body. The last shard fell to the floor with a metallic clang. What emerged was light. Radiant, shifting, beautiful light. Her form rose taller than before, a cascade of silken tendrils flowing behind her, flickering like starlight. Her features were fluid, luminous, her eyes glowing pools of sapphire blue, deeper than any ocean. She wasn't humanoid, not truly. She was otherworldly, ethereal, divine. Evan could hardly breathe. Zerani stood before him, fully revealed, fully vulnerable, and he stepped closer. "You're beautiful," he said. Her glow pulsed. "No one has ever said that before. I mean it." He reached out, slowly, gently. She didn't pull away. His fingers brushed against her energy field, a sensation like warmth and gravity and something else he couldn't describe. It made his skin tingle and his soul ache. "I feel everything," she whispered. "When you touch me like this, I feel what you feel." "Then you know I mean it," Evan said. She nodded. "You are unlike the others." They stood together, light and shadow entwined. In the days that followed, Zerani wandered the station with him, hidden beneath a new cloak, though Evan had already seen her true self. He learned she had been a scout, part of an ancient race monitoring wormhole collapses. Her pod had malfunctioned during a jump. She had crashed with no hope of contacting her people again. "You're stranded," he realized. She nodded. "Yes, and soon your kind will find me." Evan knew it too. A crash signal couldn't be hidden forever. Sooner or later the main network would detect the anomaly. "We'll run," he offered. "You would give up your post?" she asked. He looked at her and said, "For you, I already did the moment I carried you inside." She reached out and touched his chest. "You are not like the others. You didn't look away." That night she showed him a star map, a hidden pathway only her kind could access, a route through folded space. "If we make it there," she said, "we can vanish. Together." He hesitated only for a breath before nodding. "Let's go." But the universe had other plans. Before they could launch, the sky over Charon 4 lit up with descending ships. The central station blared warnings. The Terran Authority had arrived. Evan barely had time to seal the exit hatches before the squad broke through the outer defenses. He and Zerani stood in the hangar bay, caught between the authorities and the open void. "Go," he whispered. "Use the star map. I'll hold them off." "No," she said firmly. "We go together, or not at all." Gunfire erupted. Evan raised his weapon, but he was outnumbered 10-1. Then, light exploded. Zerani shed her cloak in a single motion, revealing her true form in the full blaze of her glory. The soldiers froze. Some fell to their knees, blinded by her radiance. Others screamed in confusion. No one fired. Zerani's voice echoed across the hangar like a song from the stars. "I am not your enemy." Her form expanded, enveloping Evan in a cocoon of shimmering energy. Together they rose into the air, past the immobilized guards, past the broken pod, and into the heavens. And then they vanished. A ripple in space. Gone. Later, rumors spread of a glowing being that took flight from Charon 4, of a Terran soldier who abandoned his post for something beyond understanding, of a love so strange, so unexpected, that it crossed the boundaries of species and form. Some dismissed it as a myth. Others, those who had seen the light, knew better. Somewhere, in the folds between stars, a human and an alien lived beyond judgment, beyond rules. And on the walls of a forgotten outpost, scorched into steel, were 5 simple words. You didn't turn away, human. For a while they drifted between the stars, unseen. Durrani's race, the Valari, did not live on planets. They existed in the threads between systems, dwelling in invisible pockets of folded space. It took weeks for Evan's body to adjust to the stasis light fields they used. He had to learn to breathe in shimmering mist, to think in 3 dimensions of time, to sleep while his dreams were shared. But Xirani was always beside him. She anchored him in ways even gravity never could. There, in the sanctuary of her kind, he saw things that would drive other men mad. Beings of light discussing physics through song, galaxies mapped with color instead of coordinates, and memories passed down not in books, but woven into the energy lattice of the ship itself. Her people did not speak to him at first. They watched, observed. He taught the man who did not run. One day, a being even more radiant than Xirani approached him. Its voice was layered with echoes of 1,000 souls. "You are the one who saw her," it said. "I saw Xirani," Evan replied. "And I chose her. As she is." The being paused. "And she chose you." The words were not said lightly. Velry did not choose easily. Their race lived for millennia. To bind with a human was unprecedented. Yet Xirani had shared her light with him. Let him touch the core of her being. It meant something deeper than marriage, more eternal than any Terran contract. It was Velry bonding. But the galaxy is not kind to miracles. Word spread through whispers in wormholes, black market data streams, and bounty hunter chatter. The Terran Authority, humiliated by their failure at Charon 4, labeled Evan Rourke a defector. Worse, they called him contaminated. A biological risk. A kill order was issued, not just for him, for any Bellari found harboring him. They thought fear would fracture the bond. Instead, it forged something stronger. Xirani stepped before her people and declared, "He is mine. I chose him as he chose me. If the galaxy would hunt him, then it hunts us all." In the ancient chambers, the Valari responded not with war cries, but with a surge of collective energy. Galaxies away, stars flickered in resonance. They would protect him. They would protect them. A decision was made to reveal themselves for the first time in recorded history. 1 year later, a shimmering breach opened above Earth. Not a weapon, not an invasion, a message. Abyss. A projection of light appeared in orbit, visible to every ship, satellite, and observatory. It showed a memory. Man carrying a wounded alien from fire. A woman of light removing her mask. Had 2 souls, one human, one Valari, reaching for each other. Hers echoed through every broadcast channel. You judge me for my mask, but he did not. You feared my form, but he did not turn away. So I showed him my truth, and he loved me for it. The message ended not with a threat, but with an invitation. May your eyes open as his did. The Terran Authority fell silent. Protests arose. Some demanded Evan be hunted. Others declared him a symbol of unity. Across systems, humans began questioning the stories they'd been fed. And somewhere, hidden in the folds between stars, Evan and Xirani watched the universe begin to change. Not with weapons, but with understanding. Evan stood on a quiet plane of light, looking out at a swirling pocket of nebulous space. Exarani approached behind him, her energy shimmering like auroras. "Do you regret it?" she asked softly. "Leaving Earth?" he asked. "No, choosing me." He turned. "I didn't turn away when you were wounded. I didn't turn away when you took off your mask. And I sure as hell won't turn away now." She smiled. If such a word could describe the radiance that flowed from her being. Then she reached for his hand, wrapping it in light. "You are the first to see me," she whispered, "but not the last. They're beginning to open their eyes." He nodded. "And let's help them." And hand in hand, human and alien vanished into the stars. Together, eternal and unafraid, in a galaxy where fear often triumphs over understanding, one man's quiet courage rewrote the rules. Evan didn't turn away when he saw what others feared. He didn't flinch when the beautiful truth behind a broken mask was revealed, and in doing so, he reminded both humanity and the stars that real love, true connection is found not in perfection, but in acceptance. Denial never existed, and to it should not be. Primogenic? Yes, they were Earth. They were no weapons, but with power, not with power. Not with power, not with knowledge, but with compassion. Together they became more than just a human and an alien. They became a symbol of unity, of courage, of what's possible when we stop running from the unfamiliar and start embracing it. Because sometimes the most powerful bond in the universe begins with a single choice: to not turn away.